Hello viewers, I'm SB and welcome back to another solo gameplay of the board game Root. Second episode in a series, I guess it's sort of turned into. I had a lot of fun with the one we did earlier this week, so we're just going to do another one. I'm not committing to any more episodes, but I am saying they're probably going to be more. So, following their embarrassing defeat at the hands of the Eyrie, or I guess at the wings of the Eyrie, and the burning of their keep, the forces of the Marquise de Cat have fled the forest entirely. And, true to form, the birds have spent the entirety of the time since just sitting around and arguing with each other over who gets to be in charge of their new old dominion. And that means that in the rest of the forest, a magical thing has been happening. Some say there are villages where nobody has had any of their family members suddenly eaten for hours. And the little people of the forest, the people who do all the work, you know the people I'm talking about, are starting to think, hey, this is pretty sweet. Maybe this is what life ought to be like. Maybe we don't need to be ruled by anybody at all. And wait, do you hear that sound? In the trees, in the dark part of the forest. Who's this idiot? Well, it's us. It's us, we're the idiot. So today we're going to be playing another game of Root, very similar in form to the one we played yesterday. 3 players, one of them controlled by yours truly, the idiot, and 2 of them played by the AI developed by the Better Bots project. So our first player, and I actually did randomize the turn order this time, so the first player is the Electric Eyrie. I thought it would be interesting to see the AI version of the faction we played in the last game so that you can get a sense of how it's different internally, but how similar it feels externally. Right, like the actual mechanics by which the birds do things will be different, but hopefully the idea is that it's from a decision-making standpoint, from our decision-making standpoint, it's not that different from playing against a bird player. We are also playing against a bot of the Woodland Alliance, the automated alliance here. The Woodland Alliance, as you might guess from the art here, represents the foxes and bunnies and mice who have decided that maybe it's time to use force to earn their freedom. I think the Woodland Alliance is a really cool faction. They have a very guerrilla warfare kind of thing going on. They don't have as many warriors as the other factions. They have a hard time recruiting. They have a hard time moving around in force. But it turns out to be very difficult to kill the idea of revolution with a sword. And finally, we will be playing as the Vagabond. Well, a Vagabond, a different Vagabond than the one we saw last game. We're going to be playing as the Vagrant. The different Vagabonds start with different items. I believe they all start with 3 items, but they get different ones. And then each one of them has a unique ability that you can use a torch to trigger. And I don't really know which Vagabond's the best. I've only played in one game that even had a Vagabond in it. But I picked this one mostly on the strength of this mini, which I think is one of the best ones that I have ever seen in a board game. Look at him. The American Opossum is a remarkably, somehow, simultaneously cute and very, very ugly animal. So the important ways that things are different for us than they were for the bot Vagabond, first of all, is the items. The bot Vagabond just acquires lots of items and uses them for all kinds of stuff. But you can see here, for a player Vagabond, almost every action requires a specific item. If we want to move around, we have to exhaust boots. If we want to battle, we have to exhaust swords. You'll notice we don't even start with a sword. We can't fight right away. So it is going to be a little bit different. It's going to be very important for us to explore the ruins early so that we can get the items out of them. The 4 items underneath the ruins are the same every game, but their positions are random, and I have no idea what's where, thanks to the scripting of the mod. It took care of all that stuff for me. So I believe it is the case that it's a boot, a hammer, a sword, and a bag, maybe? I don't know. We'll find out. So I think, without any further ado, we should probably look at the bot traits here, but we're about to get started. So the bird bot has the same poor manual dexterity, same Lords of the Forest as we had as the birds, and of course ambush cards cannot be played against bots. And the Automated Alliance has a couple of other interesting traits. So first of all, of course, the poor manual dexterity and the hates surprises. Automated Ambush. In battle as defender with at least 1 warrior, they get a free extra hit, which is pretty handy. And Automated Outrage. When a human player removes sympathy or moves warriors into a sympathetic clearing, that player must discard a card matching the clearing suit from their hand, and the Alliance gains 1 point if they can't do that. A human player obviously means the area is not subject to this, and it's important to note that moves any warriors into a sympathetic clearing probably won't happen for me because the Vagabond's pawn is not a warrior. So mostly this automated outrage thing is not going to do anything for them. All right, with that, I think we can get going. So as is always the case with the bots, at the beginning of the bird's turn, we draw them an order card. I guess I should point out the board state here real quick. The birds rolled this as their starting clearing. I chose to start in a forest that's kind of near them, but also kind of near some ruins. I don't actually know what the smart move here is. It's possible that starting far away from them is better, because I probably don't want to fight them early, but I do want to be in position to, like, burn down roosts if roosts are left undefended or anything like that. I figured there's a pretty good chance that, like, this clearing is our first move no matter what, so probably this would be okay. And the Woodland Alliance doesn't start on the table at all. It takes a little bit for the idea of revolution to really spin up. Okay, so the birds have drawn this Armorer card. So the way the AI decree works, the electric decree, is that whenever you draw a card, it just goes into a column according to its suit. And then, to resolve their decree, they do a recruit for each column, and then a move for each column, and then a battle for each column. So first of all, this is not a craftable card. If they have no roosts, they get a roost and some warriors. We don't have to worry about that. I guess one more thing, sorry, before we get in. Several people pointed out during the last episode that I had the priority system backwards because I did not read all of the words. Hopefully it's an understandable mistake that when the game says highest, I think the one numbered 12, not the one numbered 1, because, you know, one of those numbers is higher than the other. But it's important to read all of the words to understand the actual rules. It's kind of a silly mistake on my part no matter what, because obviously if you say something is your first priority, that means it's more important than if it's your second priority. But hopefully, now that that has been pointed out, and thank you to everyone who did, I will stop making that mistake. Okay, now, for real, daylight. So we resolve each action in order, resolving them once for each column in the decree that contains at least one card in order of left to right. So obviously, there's only birds, so we're only going to resolve each of the actions once. So first of all, the value X is the number of cards in the column. First, we recruit X warriors in a matching column with a roost. And the difficulty card says that when resolving the bird column, X is increased by 1. I chose to put both of the bots on challenging here. I know we just won against 2 challenging bots, but I don't feel confident that that was not kind of a fluke. So let's just get a little bit more data before we start changing things up. It is worth noting, though, that in addition to the difficulty cards, there are these traits that we can use to twist the difficulty knob just a little bit up or down. We might experiment with those a little bit after this game, depending on how this goes. So X is 4 here. 3 cards plus 1 for the challenging. To recruit 4 warriors in a matching clearing with a roost. Well, it turns out there is exactly 1 clearing matching those criteria, or even just the first criterion. And hey, it looks to me like these birds are doing pretty alright so far. They're going to go back and retake what is theirs, since it apparently is nobody else's at this point. Then move from the matching clearings you rule with the most of your warriors, leaving enough warriors behind to rule the clearing and a minimum of X. So all but 4 of the warriors are leaving enough warriors at a minimum of X. Okay. I was wondering if it was the number of warriors was at a minimum of X or their control was at a minimum of X. Because that would mean we could move 3 warriors since the building is a point of control. Sorry, where do they go? I should probably read like all of the words. Move from clearing with the highest priority, well, obviously there's only 1, to a clearing without a roost, and the least enemy pieces then tiebreak by lowest priority. Lowest priority meaning highest number. So they move to clearing 11 to set up shop. Well, that's a little non-ideal for us. That is where we were thinking of going. Battle in a matching clearing, obviously there's no battle. If this column has the highest number of cards in it, then deal 1 extra hit, so we gotta be wary of that. And then build a roost in the highest priority clearing you rule that does not have a roost. Easy enough. Then the Electric Eerie only goes into turmoil if they were not able to build a roost this turn. That is a pretty common way for players to go into turmoil as well, but it's not the only way it happens. And then they do the turmoil thing. All of their cards go away. They lose a VP per bird card, and then score 1 point per roost in place. So 2 points for bird. Doing it, birds. Okay, the alliance is a little bit more complex than the other bots, it looks like, so forgive me if the first couple of alliance turns are slow as we figure things out. First of all, right, order card. We need one of these. They have drawn the Cobbler. That rabbit beard is pretty adorable. Okay, so craft if it's an available item, but it isn't, and then revolt. So remove all enemy pieces and place a base, you can see they have one base for each suit, matching the order card into a matching sympathetic clearing. But there are no sympathetic clearings yet, so you've seen the word sympathy come up a couple of times now. Sympathy tokens make the clearing that they are in sympathetic to the cause of the alliance. Since there are no sympathetic clearings, we instead spread sympathy twice if there are 4 or fewer sympathy on the board, or once if there's already 5 or more. And you can see that's marked here on the sympathy track. And if we drew a bird card, then instead perform the revolt step at the end of daylight. So we're going to spread sympathy twice. What does it mean to spread sympathy? Place the leftmost token from the sympathy track into an unsympathetic clearing adjacent to a sympathetic clearing. Obviously, for the first one, we're just going to have to put it somewhere, but once there's at least one token down, they always have to go adjacent to existing tokens. So, place into clearings matching the order card, then follow clearing priority. If there are no matching clearings, prioritize clearings with fewer than 2 warriors of a single player, then priority. Okay, so we drew rabbit card. We want the highest priority rabbit clearing, which is that one, the one that the birds are in. Follow matching. There are no matching clearings. Prioritize clearings with less than 2. Okay, but there is a matching clearing, so there's no reason to... Alright, I guess the first sympathy token goes right here on top of all these birds. I guess that makes sense, right? Having to live with all those birds around, I could see how that would make somebody want to rebel. Let's just make double sure we're putting that down right. Okay. Take the leftmost sympathy token for the track, score the points beneath it. Clearing to place the token is... Okay. There's a clearing adjacent to a clearing with a sympathy token matching the card. Place it in that clearing. Multiple options are decided by first prioritizing clearings without 3 warriors of a single opponent, then highest clearing priority. Interesting that part about there being few warriors of opponents is one of the last tiebreakers here, but it's very early in this part. Well, this is the rule book, so I think we're going to give this precedence. If there is no adjacent matching clearing, simply place in the highest priority clearing with the highest priority, avoiding clearings with 3 or more warriors of a single opponent if possible. So, instead, this clearing over here, which is very close to the same priority. They might want to clarify that discrepancy. Okay, spread sympathy twice. So, first that happens, then we have to place another sympathy token, and this one has a point underneath it. There are no rabbit clearings adjacent, so we just do the clearing adjacent that has the highest priority, which is to say this one, number 8. Okay, and then daylight, spread sympathy. So the leftmost token from the sympathy track, once again, we are still not adjacent to another rabbit clearing, so we play in the clearing that has the next highest priority, which brings us actually pretty close to those birds again. And that is another 1 point. So as you might imagine, the sympathy tokens get to be worth more and more points as they get further to the right here. This is the way that the Woodland Alliance is going to score a lot of their points. We can simply attack the sympathy tokens. A hit clears them, and because they are a token, they are worth a point to remove. But we also have to be careful of letting the birds have too much of a run of the place. It's going to be important for us to sort of balance the enemies against each other, so that neither one of them takes over too much. Okay, then we have done that, spread sympathy, so now evening. If there are 3 or more of your warriors in a clearing of the base, remove all the warriors on that base and spread sympathy again. Then recruit 1 warrior in each base. Alright, so they're gonna not actually have any board presence until next turn. Okay, now it's our turn. I should turn on our hand display here. So, first of all, you can see we have a couple of items are used for triggering actions, and then some of the items give us a passive benefit. So at the beginning of our turn, we refresh 3 items, plus 2 for each teapot, unexhausted teapot, that we have in this line. And then we may move to a clearing or forest at no cost. So I think what I'm going to do here is use our slip move to move into this clearing. And I think we're going to search this ruin and then bail the hell out of there before the bird's next turn. Alright, now it is daylight, and we have some options available. So I'm going to explore the ruin in the clearing that we are currently in. First of all, we gain a point for exploring, and secondly, okay, we got ourselves another boot. I mean, mobility is important. I'm not too upset about another boot. And then we just have our 2 boots. You can see we also started with a coin stack, which lets us draw an extra card at the end of the turn. In order to craft cards in our hand, we have to expend hammers, and our hammers are considered to be whatever suit the clearing we're in currently is. And then we also have our quests here. So player Vagabonds get 3 quests to look at. We have to move to a clearing of the matching suit, and then exhaust the 2 items depicted. And when we do that, we get to draw 2 cards, and we get 1 point for each quest of that suit that we have completed, including the one we just did. So like if we do both of these fox things, the first one will be worth 1 point, the second one will be worth 2. So obviously it's important for us to try to do quests of the same suit as much as possible. We also have this relationship meter. We have like faction. It's like EverQuest all over again. So as we aid the other players by using the aid action to give them cards, we will gain points. If we aid a player once in a turn, it moves their marker up from the indifferent box to the first step of alliance. We gain 1 point. Then, if we were to give them 2 items in the same turn after that, we get to move them up again, and we get 2 more points. If we can move them up again, it makes each aid action pretty valuable. If at any time we kill a warrior of a faction, they become permanently hostile. Obviously, that's bad because you can no longer score points through aiding them, but you do get a point every time you remove a hostile piece in combat during your turn. So, for the AI Vagabond, it was sort of like they were always just permanently hostile with all the other players. Alright, well, I think we definitely want to move out of the clearing that we are currently in. And then, I think the question is, do we move again to get further away from the birds? We get to refresh all 3 of our items at the beginning of our turn, no matter what. I suppose, actually... Hold on. Before we move, maybe we do aid the birds. We could just give them a card. So, if we tried to give them a card, obviously they can't take it because they don't have a hand, but that will trigger them gaining a point. I saw a couple of people talking in the comments about how the bot players, I didn't give the bot players points when they were supposed to draw cards. They don't gain a point when they should draw a card. They gain a point if they are given a card from another player. As far as I'm familiar with, this is pretty much the only way that happens, the Vagabond using the aid action. But I haven't played with all the factions yet, so there may be some other ways for players to give each other cards. So am I reading this right? Do we just have to exhaust any item to pass a card? Let's see here. The rules. Aid. Exhaust any one item and give one of your cards matching your clearing to any player with pieces there. You may take an item from them, but I'm mostly just doing it for the point. This is a mouse clearing. Okay, we have some mouse cards. Well, obviously the Codebreakers card is of pretty limited value, so I think we're going to exhaust one of our boots and pass our Codebreakers to the bird. Since they cannot take it, it is simply discarded and they score a point. But we also score a point for having aided the birds once on this turn. We move our faction reputation with the area up. I do wish that they had crafted some items, though. This would have been a very convenient time for us to take an item. And then we move out of this clearing. I think that's a smart way to do that. Gotta start scoring those points quickly. The bots are going to be relentless with them. And then that is the end of our daylight. So first of all, in the evening, you repair all of your items. The rules for player items, or player Vagabond items, are a little bit different from the rules for the bot Vagabond items. You can see repaired items do not automatically refresh for us. Then we draw 1 card plus 1 per coin stack, so 2 cards for us. Discard down to 5, and then remove items from your satchel down to 6 plus 2 per bag. So as we get more items, it's going to become more and more important for us to find some satchels. Right now, though, I would kill for a hammer. Especially because once we get 1 hammer, we have a card here that we could use to get another one. And that is the end of our first turn. Yeah, now you have an idea of the flow here. Let's see. The birds have drawn another bird card. I can't tell if this is good for us or not. Actually, this is probably bad. They're probably going to move... Well, they might not move toward us. They seem to want to move away from enemy figures, right? So they did draw a craftable. They get a point, and they get to pull one of the boots. Not the thing I want to trade from them the most. But it's rarely bad to have more items. And then resolve each action in order. So first of all, recruit. Now the X for the bird column is 5. 5. So what do we do with the... Wow, that was energetic. More than I was expecting. Priority is clearings with most enemy pieces, then least of your warriors, then lowest clearing priority. Okay. Well, here is least of their warriors. Then move from the clearing you rule with most of your warriors, leaving enough warriors behind to rule the clearing, a minimum of 5. So from highest clearing priority to clearing without a roost and the least enemy pieces. But they're going to be moving from clearing 3 anyway, right? Yes, there are more bodies here. We got to leave 5 dudes behind. It's along the bottom of the map, right? Move to highest clearing priority. So nope, it's up to this fox clearing. And then, obviously there's no battle, so they just get to build another roost. So, as long as they keep drawing cards of the same suit, their action is going to be more powerful, but they actually want to be drawing cards of a different suit, especially early on, because it will mean they're taking a larger total number of actions. And then, obviously, 3 points for birds. You can see how they might get out of control pretty quickly here. We're definitely going to have to do something. And by we, I mean me, because it's going to take the Woodland Alliance a bit to get into play here. Let me just make sure. It is just, we just moved from 1 clearing. Yes, like for the bird column, find the clearing with most of your warriors and do a move. Okay. So it's only one clearing activated per action. Alright, Automated Alliance time. So first of all, order card. They've drawn also bird. I'm a little disappointed about this because it means we're getting a lot of the birds out of the deck very quickly. There's not going to be any left for me. Okay, so there is no craft. Now remove all enemy pieces and place a base matching the order card into a matching sympathetic clearing. But because we drew a bird card, revolt actually happens at the end of daylight. We're going to skip this for now. And instead, spread sympathy. So they're going to score another 1 point. May as well just give that to them right now before I forget. Score another 1 point, and then place into clearings matching the order card, then follow clearing priority, and in places where there are fewer than 3 enemy warriors. So the highest clearing priority adjacent to one of their existing clearings would be number 9, right? Because they can't place in number 3. It has too many warriors in it. So this guy goes out to clearing number 9. Oh, sorry. Instead, place in adjacent lowest priority clearings, right? The bird modifies. So instead, 12. 12 is the lowest possible priority, so that is where it goes. Oh, hey everybody. How's it happening? How's it happening? Yep, that's normal English phraseology. Okay. Now they revolt. So remove all enemy pieces and place a base matching the order card into a matching sympathetic clearing, preferring the clearing with the most enemy pieces. Now, I don't think... Our guy doesn't get removed, right? Yeah, your pawn is not a warrior and cannot be removed. So I think nothing happens to us. I think they just place their base here, so Fox base for the Fox clearing. And now they're getting started. Okay, yeah, I guess that's the whole of the revolt. Most of this text is just about what you do if you can't make the base. So that's the end of their daylight. And then organize. Nope, no organization happens. And then recruit one warrior from each base. So slowly, they start to make it onto the map. If only they had crafted something, because we could now trade with them here. I don't have any idea what the right way to deal with them is going to be, but my suspicion is we're going to end up wanting to fight the birds. We could get a few more points off of aiding them first and get that extra boot. I think that's going to be our plan. And we're probably going to end up having to burn down a bunch of their stuff. Alright, so first up, refresh 3 items, plus 2 per T. Then we can slip into an adjacent... I don't think I want to move anywhere. I think I want to search this ruin and then figure out what we want to do with the Alliance. So we do not slip. Go ahead and expend this to do an explore for a point. And please let this be a hammer. Okay. It's a satchel. That's also fine. Or it's a bag, sorry. Satchel already means something else. The bad news is, this is not useful to us because we're nowhere near our carrying limit. Okay, so we could, at this point, trade an object or trade one of these cards to the Woodland Alliance, but the only card we have that matches our clearing is something I think I actually want to keep. I'd really like to be able to build this hammer. We just desperately need to get our first hammer. So I think what we might actually do... We could move back over here and give the birds 2 mouse cards, but honestly, I kind of like our mouse cards. Like, as soon as we can get a hammer, we can use the hammer to build the anvil, and then we'll have 2 hammers and we can make a sword. We'll be able to get this root T pretty soon. I think maybe we just expend 1 boot to move up to here so that we can continue searching ruins and end our daytime. Not been a super good one so far. Oh, sorry, we don't do that. That's not... we go to draw. Draw a card, plus a card per coin stack, and then discard down to 5. Well, I think we probably want to discard this dominance card since it doesn't actually do the thing it says, and we're not short on mouse-suited cards here. It does look like the area is off to a pretty strong start, doesn't it? And we still don't have any of the items necessary for our... Oh, that's not true. We totally do have a boot and a satchel. Or a bag, that's right. I actually wanted a bag. Well, you know what? I don't know that I wanted this. I don't think I wanted to do that just yet anyway, because we're not really in a position where drawing 2 cards is useful. Let's maybe wait a minute on that. We can accomplish this on a future turn still. Okay, so that's the end of us. Time to not draw another bird card. Okay. Actually, it probably would have been better for us to draw another bird card. So they got their first bunny, and it crafts them the other boot. And also an 8th point, which is getting a little nervous. Alright, so resolve each action in order. First of all, recruit. Recruit X, where X equals 1, in rabbit clearing. Do they have a rabbit roost? They totally do. Then recruit X where X equals 5, except only 4, in the clearing with the most enemy pieces, then least of your warriors. Well, the clearing with the least of their warriors is a pretty obvious not tie. It is right here. Apparently these birds are drunk, showing up to duty a little bit worse for the wear. Okay, then move from the rabbit clearing. Yeah, matching clearings you rule with most warriors, leaving enough warriors behind to rule the clearing and a minimum of X. So in this case, because X is 1, actually almost all of these warriors move. And they move to the highest priority clearing. Actually, hold on, there is an enemy piece nearby now. From clearing with highest priority of the matching types, which is just this one, move to a clearing without a roost and least enemy pieces. Then lowest clearing priority. So, this is the only clearing that doesn't have a roost. So despite the fact that it has enemy pieces, the roost is the first tiebreaker, right? Yeah, leave behind enough to rule the clearing and a minimum equal to the cards in the matching column. Destination for the move is an adjacent clearing. First consider clearings with no roosts, then least enemy pieces. Okay, so that is the rabbit move, and then the bird move. With the most of your warriors, move to highest clearing priority without a roost. So the clearing with the most of their warriors is this one. They have to leave behind 5 warriors, and this is the only place they can go that doesn't have a roost. Alright, and then they build a roost in the highest priority clearing they control without one. 2 is pretty high. And 4 points for the birds. We are running out of time to get this under control. Honestly, a good big first step would be to prevent them from placing a roost on the next turn. If we can figure out a way to put that together. Yes, they scored their point per roost, and now it is the Automated Alliance again. Let's see if they can maybe start providing a little bit. Okay, they drew another bird. So, no crafting to be done. Revolt happens at the end of daylight, so now spread sympathy. This is a 2-point spread sympathy. Well, at least we're kind of keeping pace with them. Alright, so... clearing of any type. An unsympathetic clearing adjacent to a sympathetic clearing. Highest priority that does not have 3 or more enemy warriors in it. Well, this actually is now available as an option, and it is very high priority. So yeah, sympathy extends this way. And then it's time for the revolt. Remove all enemy pieces and place a base matching an order card into a matching sympathetic clearing. Matching clearing with the most enemy pieces. That'll be this one. So, big revolt. This is the first time the revolt's actually done something. Sorry, is that... okay, that is mouse. They do still have that base. Let's just make sure we're doing this right. So in their example, they've drawn a fox card. If the fox base matching the order card is not in play, and there's at least one fox clearing with a sympathy token, Chip, just remove the enemy pieces, remove all enemy pieces, place the base. Okay, it's pretty straightforward. People of this village have risen up, and I assume have brutally slain the birds that dared to occupy. That does make life a little bit easier for us, because that was the one clearing they already controlled where they didn't have a roost. Okay, good revolt, everybody. Well done. And then, organize. Oh, shoot, that's right. I screwed that up. This sympathy token had to go in the lowest priority clearing, not the highest. Fortunately, that doesn't change things too much. It can't go here because there's too many enemy warriors, so it goes there, right? Yeah, not 11, but 10. The thing still happens in clearing 7, though. Okay, so that's spread sympathy and revolt finished. There are not enough warriors yet to organize. Note that because of the difficulty thing, the organize happens if there are 2 or more of their warriors in the clearing. And then they get a warrior at each base. So one of you goes here, and one of you goes here. And for some reason, they're all coming out of the bag backwards. We can't see their adorable little eyes. Okay, next round, they're going to start organizing. I'm starting to feel, like, very behind. So you can see how this gets out of control pretty quickly. Alright, for us, first of all, refresh 3 items. Secondly, slip. I think we do not want to slip. I want to be here to explore these ruins. So at the beginning of our turn, I think that's what we're going to do. We are going to explore this ruin, and come on, something good. Okay, it's a hammer. Hammer is actually extremely good. Also, point for me. So now that we have our hammer, we really want to go back to that fox village, I think, because we want to get this craft. So we could, I guess, go to a different fox village. The mice, yeah, the Woodland Alliance still hasn't crafted anything. We could double move over to this bird village, or this fox village. Puts us in a dangerous spot, but it would allow us to trade cards off. Oh, except we only have the 1 fox card. And we're definitely gonna use it. So I'm not in any danger from the revolt. Okay. Here's what I think we should do. Let's spend a boot to move to this clearing. Remember, we're not a warrior, so we're not triggering the automated outrage. We will still trigger the automated outrage if we remove a sympathy token by attacking it. Okay, so we expend a boot to move to there. Then we expend our hammer, since it is now fox-suited, to play this thing, which gets us a hammer and 2 points. Hey, look at that. We've crossed... We've gotten all the way up to half of the bird's score. Get ourselves another hammer. And then I think we want to exhaust our satchel and our other boot to help these foxes out with a little bit of logistics, endear ourselves to them somewhat, hoping to draw a fox card or 2 that we can pass over to the Alliance. Okay, we did indeed, and this would be a card that would be a real pain to craft as well, so I don't feel too bad about doing it. So let's go ahead and exhaust our other hammer. Right, because yeah, we don't want to use this for crafting. Exhaust our other hammer to pass this card over to the Woodland Alliance. They instead just discard it and gain a point. But we also gain a point because we have successfully moved up to the next reputation tier. And then we get a point for each fox card in the completed quest pile. I'll make sure I do that. Okay, and I think that is where our turn ends. We are not going to get to refresh everything next turn, which is a little bit of a shame. Oh, as soon as you complete a quest, you flip up another one. So we have a quest to fend off a bear in a rabbit clearing. That's going to require a crossbow, unfortunately. You do not want to get into melee combat with a bear. So we do have the ability to make some tea. So we can get working on this. We should be able to give a speech in a fox clearing soon. Expel bandits is going to require us to find a sword. I believe the other ruin must contain a sword. It's always the same 4 items that are in the ruins. So we could get that and build the sword that's in our hand. We want to build this sword anyway, because we're in the right place for it, and we have the right number of hammers now. Okay, we sort of have a plan. Sort of, kinda. Alright, an evening's rest. Draw 1 card, +1 per coin stack. We're going to have to discard a bunch of stuff here, but it is awfully nice to have some card selection. Yeah, discard down to 5, and then we don't have to remove any items. We're totally cool on satchel space. So, what do we keep? Well, I'm definitely inclined to keep another sword. We don't... Why would you buy a mouse in a sack? Also, why does this mouse look so surprised by what he has here? You knew what it was when you purchased it. You know what they're calling it. Not exactly a pig in a poke. So, crafting root tea always requires a mouse, regardless of the suit of the card. So we're definitely keeping this. We have to drop 2 cards. The better Burrow Bank would actually be pretty nice for us, since the AIs can't draw cards. It's just straight value. The command warren seems maybe non-ideal. I don't know that we want to be getting in that many fights. Then again, we might have to. I think we want T. This is actually pretty tough. I think we can safely discard the mouse in a sack. I don't think we're going to need another bag. And I think it legitimately might be the case that we need both of the root Ts. Do we need both the sword cards? I kind of want both the sword cards. I think we need the crafting points. So let's go ahead and drop... You know, cards don't actually seem to be that much of a problem for us. Let's drop this. We kept at least one thing of every suit in our hand. I think this is a reasonable direction. Alright, back to the birds. Oh good, they drew bird. So X for the bird column is now 6. And it is not a craftable. Alright, so first of all, recruit 1 warrior in bunny clearing. This is still their only bunny clearing, right? Sure is. And then recruit the rest of the warriors in the place where we have the fewest warriors, because we are not yet sharing... Yeah, we're not sharing any locations with the enemy pieces. Okay, so here. Then we do the rabbit move, so we leave 1 guy behind. Enough to rule the clearing, minimum of X. Move from the clearing to clearing without a roost and least enemy pieces, then lowest clearing priority. So from here, once again, there is only 1 clearing that does not have a roost, so this is where we must go. The Woodland Alliance is not going to be able to revolt again because their base is out, unless their base gets destroyed here, which I guess it might. Then we have the bird move. So from the clearing, you rule with the most of your warriors, leaving enough warriors behind to rule. That is this clearing now, although just barely. So we have to leave behind 5 warriors, and he has to move to a place that has no roost. The only legal movement is that one. Right? Yeah, clearing without a roost first. Okay, and then battle. So there is no bunny battle, but bird battle is actually a real thing. Prioritize clearings without a roost, then clearings with defenseless enemy buildings, then lowest clearing priority. So that is 12, right? That is the lowest clearing priority that has a place where we could fight. So that bird is going to throw down, and he gets an extra hit because this column is his highest X. So where's some dice? Let's throw some dice here. Bird has initiated combat. Okay, 3 and 1. Of course, he's he only gets one hit off of the dice because he only has 1 warrior in the thing. Plus the extra hit puts him on 2. And the Alliance gets an extra hit as well. So they both deal 2 hits. Oh, sorry, actually, hold on. How do the birds... When a bot targets an opponent, it may refer to setup order. Totally doesn't. Who's he targeting with that battle? Because I have more points. I bet it's me, right? Okay. Prioritize targets as follows. Right. So the problem here is we know which clearing he's fighting in, but I'm not clear on who he attacks. It's probably me, right? Because I have the most points. Let's flip over to the next page here and see if it clarifies. No, it kind of doesn't. Well, that's no good. This is important information. Prioritize targets, column with the most cards, deal an extra hit. I believe I saw a general rule about how the bots target people. Setup order is the final tiebreaker to decide between 2 opponents that fulfill all other conditions to be the target of an action. Okay, I guess all of the conditions are present in the clearing. So, setup order. Setup order, the Woodland Alliance is before the Vagabond, so the birds attack the Woodland Alliance. So 2 hits dealt to each. The Eerie Warrior obviously is horribly killed. Maybe the game's too cutesy for that. The Eerie Warrior is terrified and driven back into the forest. Both of these warriors are also lost. Yep, that isn't, nothing else triggers here. So the bird has prevented the organize action. You got something accomplished there. Unfortunately, the birds still do rule a clearing where they can start a fight, or where they can build a roost. Prioritize clearings without a roost. Yeah, okay. Well then, build a roost in the highest priority clearing you own without one. That would be right there. We're gonna have to get over here and help with this situation. 5 points for the birds? Yes, it is indeed 5 points for the birds. They are kind of running away with it. Okay. We might be able to contain them soon, though. So we need a new order card for the Automated Alliance. It is Fox. It is a gently used knapsack, so they do craft and gain a point. And then Revolt. Remove all enemy pieces and place a base matching the order card in the sympathetic clearing, but they cannot do that. So instead, we add sympathy. We've got enough sympathy tokens on the table that we only add 1. That's another 2 points for the Woodland Alliance. Not exactly my most primary concern. So we want a Fox clearing that is adjacent to currently sympathetic clearings. I believe clearing number 1 is the only one that fits. Oh, nope, we don't actually have a token here. So there is no one that fits. Which means I think this is when we put it down in clearing 3. There are no matching clearings. Prioritize clearings with... Oh, this says less than 2 warriors? Hold on a moment. Yeah, see, here it says without 3 warriors of a single opponent, so a clearing with 2 warriors would be legal. This says fewer than 2. I'm going to continue to trust the book on this. This is totally a valid option right now, and in fact is the correct option, because that is the highest priority clearing. Okay, and then we do the normal spread sympathy action. So this one is worth 3 points. Starting to catch up in a way that's really worrying. Are we adjacent to a Fox clearing now? Because of that, we totally are. But we can't place there because there are too many enemy warriors. So, oh. No, we're totally adjacent to this Fox clearing. So actually, this sympathy token had to go here. We are, in fact, adjacent to that. And now we're not adjacent to another Fox clearing, so this sympathy token ends up here. Okay, and then organize if there are 3 or more of your warriors, or rather 2 or more of your warriors. Nope, that is not the case. Then just recruit a warrior in each base. Things are going to get a little heated over here. So how are we going to do this? How are we going to keep the birds from continuing to expand? Because what we really need is for them to fall into turmoil. I need them to lose some points. I guess we're done with this turn. Let's move on to our own. First things first, we only get to refresh 3 items this turn. Well, I kind of want my hammers back. We could give our speech. We get hammer, hammer, torch back. And then we use our 2 hammers, or we use one of our hammers. Oh no, I have to be in a... Right, I have to be in a rabbit clearing. Or a mouse clearing, rather. To craft that. So maybe what we do instead is... Hammer, boot, torch? This way we can move to a mouse clearing, use the hammer to craft the root tea, get ourselves 2 points plus, obviously, the tea, which is important. And then we won't be able to give a speech right away, but we can at least have the tea so that we get to refresh more of our items next turn. I think that's probably right. And the torch... So the torch allows us to search ruins. It also allows us to instigate combat. We can initiate a battle in our clearing. We choose who is the attacker and who is the defender, and we choose which pieces are lost for each of them. So we could move over to here, because this is a mouse clearing, and start a fight and just have the birds be the attacker and the alliance be the defender, so that the alliance gets their extra hit. Just try to thin the birds out a little bit. It would also, even if we can't stop them from placing a root, it does help us a little bit to get their roosts off the table, because that at least means that they are they're getting fewer points every turn. If the Woodland Alliance draws a bird card or a bunny card, they will get to revolt in this clearing. That'll burn out that roost, and it will actually fill the only building slot in the clearing with their base, so they don't have to worry about the birds coming back here and rebuilding. If I were to move over here and just start fighting the birds, I don't think that actually really helps us. Let's see, do we want to... I don't really have an item I could spend to aid. I guess you can exhaust the items that are over here. They don't work while they're exhausted, but we could exhaust our coins to give the Woodland Alliance this card in exchange for the satchel. Just trying to accumulate stuff in general. Alright, let's do that. Let's start here in this fox clearing by exhausting our coin stack. Give the Woodland Alliance this card. They just discard it. They get a point for having been given a card. And we get to take the satchel. And then we boot to move down to here. This is a rabbit clearing, so I think what I'm going to do here is exhaust this satchel to give them another card. Or this it's a mouse clearing. So we're going to give them the mouse root tea, which they discard and gain a point. We don't get another thing from them, but now we have aided them twice in the same turn. So we move them up to here, and we also gain 2 points. Then we exhaust our hammer, which is now rabbit suited, or which is now currently mouse suited to do this. We gain this thing from here, and also 2 points for crafting. So we're going to get to refresh 5 items. We don't really need to refresh the satchels, so we are currently able to refresh all of the items we care about. Sorry, I'm about to spend this torch, too. Well, we'll figure it out. I think we want to instigate. We trick the birds into attacking the mice in a show of force. Feels a little underhanded. Go get 'em, mice. Okay, so that is a 3 and a 3. The birds actually get their 3 hits. The mice are locked to 2. So you guys get popped. And the birds get to remove you and you, because warriors have to get removed first. And then the birds still have a hit left over. So they kill either the sympathy token or the mouse base, and it's our choice because of our instigations. So what helps us more? If the sympathy token gets removed, it does lower scoring potential for the Woodland Alliance a little bit. The birds are going to get a point either way here, which is a little unfortunate. But I think I'm actually going to have them remove the base. Because now we could have a revolt here again if the Woodland Alliance draw mouse. And a revolt here at this point would remove the roost as well. It removes all enemy pieces. Yeah. Okay, that was something. We still don't have a sword, and so we still cannot initiate our own combat yet, but we can use the enemies against each other. Yeah, and the birds, sadly, get a point. 18. 18's high. I'm a little worried that they are going to just run away with this, and that we're kind of helping them a little. I was hoping that it wasn't going to be 3 and 3. So like a nice 1 and 1 there with the Woodland Alliance actually getting 2 would have been pretty good. Ah well, that's the way of it. So we draw a card, and then our turn is over. Okay, draw ourselves another root T, a fox-suited root T, so at least we keep a good set of suits in our hand here. And it's bird time. Jeez. We've seen a lot of bird draws. X for the bird column is now 7. First of all, recruit 1 rabbit in the rabbit clearing. Then recruit the rest of the warriors, the other 2. Priority is most enemy pieces, then least of your warriors. So right here is the place that makes sense. It's the only place with enemy pieces where they can recruit. Right, yeah, most enemy pieces. Okay, then the rabbit move, leaving behind 1 guy, moving to location without a roost, which is no longer possible. Then it's least enemy pieces, then lowest clearing priority. So 11 is a pretty strong contender. Yeah, I do believe it is 11. And then the bird move. So they have to leave behind 7 warriors. Move from the place with the most guys, leaving behind 7, to a place without a roost and least enemy pieces. They don't actually have any place where they can move and leave 7 warriors behind, so I guess they just don't move anymore. Which is good, that means that they're going to go into turmoil. Then they battle. There is battling. There is no mouse battle? Oh no, there is. Or rabbit. There is a rabbit battle. They have an undefended token to fight, and they do fight it. That is a point for the birds. And remember, automated outrage is not triggered because it only happens when a human player removes sympathy. And we don't have to roll for that, because the token is undefended, it's defenseless, so they get a free hit against it. And then battle in the bird clearing. Prioritize clearings without a roost, then clearings with defenseless buildings, then lowest clearing priority. So this is it. This is the only other place that fight can happen, and they fight the sympathy token, and they are successful. Yeah, that, this attack completely wiping out the Woodland Alliance warriors here actually really sucked. The good news is, this turmoil is absolutely brutal. They lose 1 VP per bird card in the decree, including the viziers, which is 6 points. And so back down to 14, and all of a sudden it's a competitive game again. And then we dump everything from the decree except for the viziers. What does this card actually do? In Birdsong, you may discard this to score 1 point per... Wow. That is a very powerful card. That's why it requires 4 crafting buildings to make. Okay, so they turmoiled, then they score a point for each roost in play. Well, you know, it's a start. Alright. Order card for the Woodland Alliance is a bird. That's pretty good. So first of all, it is a craftable item. They've got a crossbow. Hey, I need one of those. Point for them. Revolt at the end of daylight because we drew bird. So now spread sympathy in the adjacent lowest priority clearing. What is a low priority clearing they don't have yet? They can't place it here. Where's 9? Can they do 9? They can do 9. Okay, and then revolt. So the matching clearing with the most enemy pieces. All clearings match, so it is mouse clearing, right? Oh, mouse clearing's not sympathetic anymore. In fact, there are no clearings with enemy pieces, because all of the sympathy tokens got killed out of them. So instead it is, yeah, if there's no matching sympathetic clearing, then... Well, they still place it even if there are no enemy pieces, right? Yeah, I think... Yeah, breaking ties by highest priority. Okay, so highest priority clearing that could have a thing. Priority clearing 1 is of the type that the building already is out for. So then it's number 4 gets the rabbit base. They don't get to actually remove anybody here. Right, you can place a revolt in a place where there aren't any enemies. Yeah, revolt in the clearing with the most enemy pieces. This has to be a token with a clearing with a sympathy token. There don't have to be enemies there. Okay, and then there is no organize, so recruiting. I'm worried. Did I remember to give them the 2 points for their sympathy token this turn? Probably. If it ends up mattering, I'll go back and check the footage. It would be better not to break it up. Okay. They're having a hard time getting stuff done. Now, we get to refresh 3 items plus 2 per T. Is it the case that we want to just refresh these 5? Probably. I don't need the coin stacks or the bags for completing quests, so I think we just refresh all of our usable stuff. And then we can slip. Do we want to slip here? I kind of want to be in that fox clearing for the purpose of completing quests and also maybe giving cards. So probably what we do first is complete that quest. We draw 2 cards, we gain 2 points. And I'm hoping to draw some cards that will be good for giving away here. Okay, we drew a pair of fox-suited cards. That's actually very compelling. Because if we were to give 3 fox cards to the Woodland Alliance right now, we would give them 3 points, which is not totally awesome for us. But we would also get 2 points, and then for the rest of the game, every time we aid them, we get 2 points. It's a good source of stuff. Plus, we get that crossbow. Yeah, you know what? Let's just do that. I'm gonna exhaust 3 items and give them these things. Which 3 items do we exhaust? We're in a fox clearing right now. So what I'd really like to do here is move to a mouse clearing and craft tea. Could we move to a mouse clearing and craft tea? We move to this one. And then I think we can give them cards here because I think they're in control of this. How does aid work? To a player who is any player with any pieces in that place, says the rulebook. So move, we do this, move and craft, get the tea, and then use the tea and the boot and the other hammer as the items that we flip over to do the 3 aids. I think that's what I'm going to do. Yeah, it's a shame it has to be a move away from combat. Like, it would be really nice if they still had presence here. Alright, so we move there. We craft ourselves some root tea using our mouse-suited hammer. 2 points for me and the other teapot. And then... oh, that's a fox card. Hold on a moment. Hold on a moment. This whole thing doesn't work if I do that, because then I don't have the fox card. Sorry, I'm being silly. I would have to give away a mouse card. So let's back that up. Hold on a second. I'm going to undo the thing I did there, and we're going to do this carefully in the correct order. because what we have to do here is we have to give away 2 of these fox cards first. All right, we spend these 2 things to give and give. Scores 2 points for green. They're given 2 cards. And we get to take the crossbow, which is handy. Then we expend a boot to move over to here. Expend our hammer to build the root tea, which gives us 2 points, and the teapot. And then we expend 1 more item to give them 1 more card of the suit of the clearing that we are in with them, which gives them 1 more point, and is our 3rd aid this turn for them. We move up to here, we gain 2 points, and hey, the game's actually pretty close. Oh, we gotta reveal our new quest. Not that it would have mattered here. We had plans for all of our items. And this way things work out that we get to keep a T face up, because the T that is face down does not add items here. It is worth noting that we are now at 6 items in our satchel, so if we want to get more items, we need to actually get some of these bags turned face up as well. And so I think here we end our turn. We draw a card. It's the crossbow. That's unfortunate, because there is only 1 crossbow, so we can't craft this. And yeah, we're done. All right. Birds get to start anew. They've immediately drawn bunny. That is not a craftable card. So first of all, recruit rabbit. They can't do any recruiting. All of their stuff is on the table already. Then move from rabbit. X equals 1. Okay, so they can't leave. They have to leave a minimum of 1 warrior in the only rabbit clearing they have. And then bird is a 2. So we need to move a bunch of warriors from clearing with the most warriors, which is this one. Leaving, 3 behind, because X is +1 in the bird column. And they move to a place with no roost, preferring least enemy pieces. They are adjacent to exactly 1 place with no roost, so that is where they go. And then battle. There is only 1 clearing in which they can battle, so it is where they do battle, and this is their highest X, so they get a bonus hit. Okay, 1-0, so that's 2 and 1, because the Woodland Alliance also gets a bonus hit. Both of the Woodland Alliance guys are defeated, and also 1 of the Airy Warriors is defeated. Well, they're never going to get that. They're never actually going to get to do an organize, it seems like. The birds are keeping them down pretty effectively. Then build a roost in a place you rule without one. Sadly, that is possible this turn. And they do rule this. Remember, they win ties. I'm not even sure. Hold on a second. Let me go back to the front of the rulebook. Do the tokens count as control for the purpose of ruling this clearing? The ruler of a clearing is the player with the most total warriors and buildings. So buildings are a point of control, but tokens are not. So even if birds didn't win ties, they would still rule here. And then the bird gains 6 points and is in position to win the game next turn if somebody doesn't do something pretty drastic. And somebody is almost certainly going to have to be me. Alright, Woodland Alliance, what do you got? You have a birdie bindle. I think we are out of bags. No, we are not. Never mind. They do, in fact, craft the last bag and move up a point. And then they can revolt. Okay, so mouse clearing where they have sympathy, preferring places where there are enemy pieces, which is us. They place their mouse base here. Then they spread sympathy for 3 points. Looks like whether or not I missed 2 points for them earlier is probably not going to end up mattering. So clearings match in the order card following clearing priority. Clearings, yeah, any clearing. Oh, sorry. Revolt happens at the end of daylight. This is a bird card. I'm playing like it's mouse suited, because there's a mouse in the cost of the thing. So yeah, revolt happens at the end of daylight. We are spreading sympathy in the adjacent lowest priority clearing. 12, 11, 10, and 9 are all set up. I think 8 is too. Yeah. Oh, actually, this one's not anymore, but they can't place here anyway. So, here. This is the only clearing they have left where they can put down sympathy. It has to spread to places where there aren't that many warriors. And then it is this revolt, which nothing has changed. Well, actually, hold on. Yeah, nothing has changed. This is the only mouse clearing they control that is sympathetic. There is no organize, and then they get to, hey, they get to at least put 3 warriors on the table. They're kind of living the dream. Okay, we might get to take advantage of our proper alliance with the woodland guys this turn. Their order card is discarded. It feels like they haven't had a huge effect on the game, but they do have 22 points. They're not doing that badly. Alright, so first of all, refresh 3 items plus 2 per team. We get 5 of our items face up. We got to figure out how we could possibly either win the game or do enough damage to the bird's position that they score no more than 4 points on their next turn. In order for them to score 4 points on their next turn, we'd have to destroy either 3 of their roosts, or we'd have to cause them to go into turmoil. Is it possible for us to cause them to go into turmoil? Probably not. They have some attractive positions over here. I don't think we have a way of doing enough damage to them. And I'm pretty sure I can't win. I don't think we have 12 points in us. So every time we give a card at this point, every time we aid the Woodland Alliance, we get 2 points. We only have 1 craftable, and it's not a craftable we can actually score on, because this item can't be built anymore. We could go and try to kill a bunch of birds. The bird that we kill that makes us hostile won't score us a point, but every bird piece we remove in battle... I don't even have a sword. I don't have even 1 sword. We do have a crossbow, so if we chose to refresh the crossbow, we could use the strike ability. But if I'm doing we're probably just fending off a bear with the crossbow, right? So probably the way we are most likely to be able to win is finish a quest, get 2 cards off of it, and then give away a lot of cards. We can make 8 points if we could give away all 4 of the cards that are in our hands right now. We don't have enough items for that to happen. Right, because we're going to have 6 face-up items after we do this. It's going to take us, at the very least, boot. Oh no, actually we have a mouse clearing card right now. We could do that. Okay, so let's say we unflip a bag and a boot so that we can complete this. And then 3 more items. I'm inclined to go for those 2 and another boot. And we're certainly not going to do any crafting. I don't think we're going to be able to do this. I don't think we can get there. We could use Instigate to try to damage the bird position a little bit more. But it's not going to be enough. So I should talk a little bit about what being allied with another player means. When we move or initiate a battle, warriors who belong to factions that are allied with us can be moved or brought into battle with us as though they are warriors of our faction. So, like, we could move from the clearing that we're standing in, drag this mouse over here with us, and then start a fight if we had a sword, and have 3 warriors for that fight. We could carry this guy with us to the fox clearing, and then Use our torch to instigate, potentially. If we could complete this logistics help, get 2 cards that mean anything at all, and then flip a Fox quest off the deck, we'd get 1 point for doing this, plus potentially 3 points for the Fox quest, bringing us to 22, and then we'd have to find 8 more points. We don't have enough items to give away all the cards we would need to give away. So we have to damage the bird position enough for them not to be able to win. I don't think we can win right now. We need another turn. How do we do it? We have to destroy 3 roosts, and they have to not score any points on their turn other than by placing a roost. Yeah, that's not possible. We can destroy at most 1 roost with our instigate. Okay, well then, drawing cards is the only thing we can do that's actually useful, so this is the refresh we're going to take. We are not going to slip, we want to be in this mouse clearing. And the first thing we're going to do is accomplish a mouse quest. We'll use our boots and bags to assist the mice with some logistics. We'll get ourselves 1 point and 2 cards. Yep, that's a shame. Those cards don't help us even a tiny little bit. So now we could... Sorry, we gotta flip this up. Well, that's a shame. We need a sword for that. We can give away a bunch of cards, basically. Just trying to figure out if instigating here even helps us. I think we just lose. I think the birds have it. Like, if we use boot to move, moving to a fox clearing is not super helpful. I really wish I had gotten a sword. We ended up not keeping any of our sword cards and not going after the last sword because we got into a helping thing with the Woodland Alliance, and I think it's just killed us, unfortunately. So maybe we use the move to go here. We'll be out of items. We still won't be able to draw anything. Okay, but yeah, we use a move to a rabbit clearing. And we accomplish this quest in the hope of drawing a card that somehow helps. I don't think that's even possible. Get a point for completing the quest. Oh, hey, look. It's finally a fox errand. And it's actually doable, too. That's a shame. If that had been 1 card closer to the top. Yeah, and then we don't actually have the hammers left to do anything with any of these anyway, so... Yep, we just lose. That's a shame. So we're gonna discard down to 5. Discard. Not help us. Yeah, we don't have to do anything else. And then it is the bird turn. I do believe the birds have it. The first player advantage seems to me to be pretty significant because the game stops immediately when somebody wins instead of the round being completed. They drew rabbit again. It is not a craftable. They recruit rabbit. They still only have the 1 rabbit roost. Yeah, remarkably. It's possible that I've misplayed the Woodland Alliance here, because their rules are not super consistent between the card and the book. That maybe they should have been in a better position, or maybe the birds should have been in a worse one. And then we go to move, because there is no recruits left for the bird phase. So move from the rabbit clearing, but you gotta leave 2 guys behind, so nobody gets to move. And then the bird clearing has an X of 3. So we move from the place where there are the most bird warriors, leaving 3 behind. There are 2 places tied for most bird warriors. How do we break this tie? Is it highest or lowest priority? Move from the clearing with the highest priority. Okay, so between those 2, it is 6 and 7. So it's this one. These 2 warriors would love to move to a place where there is a roost, or where there isn't a roost, but they can't. the birds are actually totally going to go into turmoil. I was playing just kind of assuming that they were going to be able to place a roost. Does it help? Is it enough? Let's see. They move from clearing with the highest priority. Okay, move to lowest clearing priority. So they move toward 11 because they can't move anywhere else that's useful at all. Then they fail to build a roost because they don't control any clearings that don't have a roost. They go into turmoil, which causes them to lose 2 points. And then they gain 6 points to 29. So we have a big fat handful of cards, and we do get to refresh 5 items, and we are 10 points away from winning. It actually totally is possible for us to win, provided that the Alliance doesn't somehow pull it off here. But the birds are absolutely going to win on their next turn if we don't do something. Or if the game doesn't end. So, let's see. Reveal the order card. It is Mouse. They cannot revolt, so they spread sympathy once, which is 3 points. And they spread the sympathy into a clearing adjacent to a sympathetic clearing. There is nowhere they can spread to that doesn't have at least 3 enemy warriors, so... do they still place? Avoiding clearings with 3 or more warriors of a single opponent if possible. So yes, they do still place. For the first time, that tiebreaker is, okay. So they would prefer to place in a mouse clearing. This one, or this one. And amongst those, they would prefer highest priority. That's number 2. That's very high. Okay, and then organize. Do they have a place? They do have a place with 2 warriors. It actually happens. Remove all warriors on that base and immediately spread sympathy. Wow, they're actually going to be really close to victory. They are at 29 points. Now they spread here. That's actually... yeah, that's it. This is a higher priority than this clearing. Then recruit 1 warrior to each base. So it turns out, we're only a single turn from victory as well. And then discard your order card. Now it totally does matter if I gave them those 2 points earlier. So I guess I'm going to go ahead and pause the video and go check. I'll be right back. Okay, well, bad news. It turns out that on that turn where I was unsure whether I gave them the points for placing their sympathy token, I didn't. They should have 2 more points than they currently appear to, which means that at the end of their turn, when they hit the organized step, the placing of the 4-point sympathy token brings them to 31 and they win the game. That is definitely a shame. I aided them too many times, obviously, but if we hadn't aided them enough to get this last movement up to Allied, I guess I would only be down 2 points. We didn't actually make use of this at all. I think this is where I screwed up. Giving them the 3 aids to move them up to Allied. Yeah, because I'd be at 18, but they would be at 28. I'm still not going to win that game. I think I'm not sure exactly where I misplayed. Maybe it was in not getting a hold of a sword earlier. But yeah, I definitely misplayed in a way. Over the last couple of turns, I was basically just in position to kingmake. I got to decide whether the birds or the Woodland Alliance won. But sadly, the Vagrant cannot be a king. I mean, if you look at his face, I think he's probably not really well suited to it. Not the right temperament for leadership. So, that is the end of Game 2. Turns out, challenging might just be challenging enough. And this rule is absolutely what won them the game. Right? The fact that they got to organize on 2 warriors instead of 3 was the difference maker. That was actually really close. I had a lot of fun there. So, again, if I made any huge rule mistakes, please feel free to leave that stuff in the comments below. I'm still kind of working it out. In particular, I'm a little shaky on exactly how the automated alliance bot is played, and who knows, maybe we made a mistake that caused them to win the game when they otherwise shouldn't have. I'm pretty sure I still don't win in that case, but maybe they didn't deserve to either. So that's going to be it for us for today here. Thank you all so much for watching. I think it's pretty likely that there's going to be another one of these in the near future, so stay tuned for that if you are enjoying this sort of thing, and we'll see you then.